"Deploy the hydrosphere weapon," hissed the alien admiral. "Let the humans drown beneath their own sky." The order echoed across the bridge of the Threxian command vessel, a monstrous ship that blotted out the sun. Dozens of subordinate species obeyed in silence, their eyes reflecting the cold blue glow of planetary targeting displays. Beneath them, Earth turned slowly, clouded, cracked, and defiant. The admiral's mandibles clicked in triumph. "They've resisted every plasma strike, every orbital bombardment, every toxin we unleashed. But this time, their lungs, their cities, their fragile little bodies, none will endure." "Confirmed," replied the weapons officer. Hydrosphere cannon charging. Mass displacement sequence engaged. And then, silence. A silence so vast that even space seemed to hold its breath. When the weapon fired, it wasn't a beam or a blast. It was gravity itself turning traitor. Oceans rose in defiance of the horizon, a blue wall encircling continents, kilometers high, roaring with the fury of an ancient world reborn. Cities vanished beneath the waves. Clouds condensed into endless rain. Lightning split the heavens in white veins that never faded. From orbit, it looked like the death of a species. The admiral smiled. "Let the galaxy watch. Humanity's chapter ends today." But down on the surface, it didn't look like an ending. Amid collapsed streets and flickering lights, humans gathered, soaked, bruised, laughing. In refugee camps, in broken cities, even on rooftops now surrounded by endless water, they stood together and stared into the downpour. And then, unbelievably, music began to play. Somewhere, an old speaker crackled to life. A man stepped into the rain, head tilted up, arms open wide. Children splashed in rising puddles. Soldiers removed their helmets and closed their eyes, letting the storm wash them clean. From the orbiting fleet, alien sensors zoomed in. Thousands of humans were moving in unison, twirling, stomping, clapping. The hydrosphere weapon had not brought terror. It had brought a dance. "Report," the admiral barked. Why are they moving like that?" A junior officer's voice quivered. "Sir, the humans appear to be celebrating." "Celebrating what?" "The storm, sir." The admiral's eyes widened. "They're dancing in a planetary extinction event. On Earth, the floodwaters reflected firelight and lightning alike, humans spinning in rhythm to the planet's rage. They had seen the end of days before. And somehow, they'd always found the beat. In orbit, the alien admiral whispered, almost to himself, "What kind of species dances while it dies?" And somewhere, through the storm, a human voice answered over an open comm channel, "We're not dying. We're remembering." The aliens thought they commanded the storm. They didn't realize they'd only woken something ancient. From orbit, the Threxian command vessel hovered proudly over the drenched planet. The hydrosphere cannon's pulse had transformed Earth into an endless ocean, continents blurred beneath rising tides, cities swallowed by swirling maelstrom. To the admiral, it was beautiful. To humans, it was home. "Report on planetary status," the admiral demanded. "Surface water coverage now 93%, replied the officer. "All human settlements appear destroyed." The admiral leaned back, satisfied. Finally, the death world is silenced. But the silence didn't last. Sensors began to flicker. Unnatural wave patterns. Magnetic fluctuations. The ocean itself, moving against gravitational expectation. "Sir," the comms officer whispered, "the sea levels are rising again. But we're no longer firing." "How is that possible?" Outside the viewport, the planet glowed faintly blue. Not from reflection, but from energy coalescing beneath the surface. Swirling patterns in the clouds formed what looked like eyes. And then, the entire ocean shifted upward. Millions of tons of water surged toward the sky, dragging debris, ships, and fragments of cities with it. For one terrible moment, the admiral thought it looked like a wave reaching for them. Impact warning. Planetary mass movement inbound. The hydrosphere weapon's gravitational field, the very thing they'd used to flood the planet, was reversing, dragging their own fleet toward the rising storm. Down below, humanity had stopped dancing. They stood, heads tilted skyward, watching lightning spiral upward instead of down. The clouds began to churn like the sea, and the sea began to rise like a mountain. A young woman, soaked to the bone, uniform torn, whispered to the soldiers beside her, "It's reacting. The planet's angry." "Angry," a soldier muttered. "At them?" She nodded. "At everyone who forgets what water means." Above, the Threxian admiral shouted, "Stabilize the field. Push the water mass back." "It's not responding, sir." The hydrosphere cannon's feedback is locked. On screens across the fleet, the oceans formed colossal spirals, coordinated, intelligent, deliberate. The storm was aiming, and through the comm interference came a human broadcast, ancient, distorted, but clear enough to pierce the chaos. "We told you, this world doesn't die easily." A moment later, one of the alien cruisers vanished beneath a spear of water that punched through orbit like a living weapon. Sensors went dark. Panic spread. "Sir, multiple losses. The weapons field is feeding on the planet's magnetic core." The admiral's voice trembled for the first time. "You're saying Earth has taken control?" The science officer looked up, pale, trembling. "Not control, sir. Ownership." Below, in the drowned streets of a half-sunken city, humans stood together in the storm's glow, lightning reflecting in their eyes like starlight. One raised a hand to the sky. "She's awake," he whispered. The sea answered with thunder. In orbit, the admiral's final order crackled across the fleet. "Retreat. Now." But before they could jump to hyperspace, every sensor displayed the same impossible reading. The ocean was following them. No one believed water could fly, until Earth made it chase an enemy into space. The Threxian fleet tore through the upper atmosphere in panic, engines roaring, hulls glowing white-hot from re-entry friction. Behind them, the ocean itself was rising. Not in waves, in columns. Great serpentine ribbons of water, suspended against gravity, twisting upward through the clouds like liquid dragons. Sensors across the fleet overloaded. Mass displacement exceeds 27% of total planetary volume. "That's impossible." "Sir, it's leaving the planet." The admiral stared at the viewport, mandibles trembling. "You can't tell me the ocean is pursuing us." But it was. The water broke free of the troposphere in glittering arcs, illuminated by lightning that now burst upward into orbit. The vacuum of space should have vaporized it, but instead it pulsed with energy, glowing like a living organism. Earth was bleeding into the stars. And at the heart of the rising flood, something flickered. Electromagnetic patterns woven into water molecules, a network of consciousness forming across every droplet. The hydrosphere cannon's resonance field had done the unthinkable. It had awakened the planet. Down below, survivors stood on the roofs of drowned skyscrapers, watching streams of glowing water rise toward the heavens. No one screamed. No one ran. They just watched, as if the planet itself had decided to stand up for them. A little girl clutched her mother's hand. "Mom, is the sea angry?" Her mother shook her head slowly. "No, sweetheart. She's protecting us." Up above, the Threxian ships scrambled to escape orbit, but the first contact was instant. A tendril of liquid light slammed into a cruiser, wrapping around it like a fist. The ship's shields hissed and shorted out, then were crushed flat as though by a world's hand. "Water shouldn't move like that. Water shouldn't hunt." Commander Vreck screamed over the comms. "Sir, we've lost formation. It's tracking energy signatures. It knows which ships fired." The admiral barked, "Deactivate the cannons. Cut all power. Now." But the ocean didn't care about orders. It remembered. Each vessel that had targeted Earth glowed faintly in the water's shimmering reflection, as if marked. And one by one, the marks vanished beneath waves that now flowed through the void itself. Aboard the flagship, chaos reigned. The admiral staggered toward the main holo display, which showed a final impossible image. Earth below, glowing blue and white, and from its surface, massive spirals of water stretching into orbit, chasing his fleet like living storms. They're calling it, the communications officer whispered, an atmospheric ascension. But, sir, what? It's alive. The Admiral's mandibles clicked in disbelief. A planet cannot be alive. From a damaged comm panel, a faint human voice replied, someone broadcasting from Earth, calm, steady, and heartbreakingly certain. That's what we used to think too. Then came the moment that silenced the galaxy. The Threxian flagship fired its engines at full burn, trying to outrun the flood, but the water followed, shaped like a colossal hand, closing around it. The stars vanished in blue. The fleet disappeared inside the grasp of the living ocean. And then stillness. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a planet had fought back. In the ruins below, the storm finally began to calm. A human soldier, staring at the stars, whispered, "Do you think it's over?" Beside him, another smiled faintly. "No, she's still dancing." For 3 days, Earth had no stars. Only the glow of her own fury reflected across the black. In orbit, silence reigned. The Threxian fleet, the pride of a galactic empire, was gone. Not destroyed in flame or crushed by weaponry, but taken by the very element they had mocked. What had begun as a weaponized storm ended as a living symphony of wrath and beauty. And then, on the dawn of the 4th day, the sky began to return its light. The water, all of it, came back. From orbit, the storm shimmered like a reversed waterfall, cascading gracefully down toward the planet's surface. But it wasn't the same ocean. It glittered faintly now, threads of bioluminescent light pulsing through its depths. It carried memory. It carried song. When the waters settled, the world was reborn. The deserts bloomed. The ruins of cities gleamed with clean rivers. The salt-stained skies cleared into a new blue no painter could match. And somewhere, among the survivors, laughter returned. At the shattered remains of the Threxian Academy satellite, Commander Threx, one of the few survivors, recorded a trembling report for the Galactic Council. The humans survived. Their planet changed. The hydrosphere weapon triggered a planetary defense mechanism we cannot comprehend. I repeat, Earth itself appears to be sentient. He stopped the recording midway, glancing toward the window. In the distance, floating in the vast ocean that now covered parts of the Academy ruins, stood a human child, waist-deep in glowing water. The child waved at him. The commander didn't wave back. He simply whispered, "How do you fight a species whose home fights with them?" On Earth's surface, humans rebuilt, not with haste, but with reverence. They spoke to the sea as though it could hear them. And sometimes, when they sang, the tides swayed in rhythm. The United Earth Fleet raised a new banner at the edge of the newly formed shoreline, a simple white symbol, a spiral within a wave, and beneath it the words, "We danced." When the first transmissions reached the wider galaxy, every world listened. The recording showed humans standing together in the storm's afterglow, drenched, exhausted, yet smiling as they looked up at the camera. A voice spoke over the image, Captain Mara Holt of the Dauntless. "To those who fear us, understand this. We do not seek war. But if you strike our world, remember, you're not just fighting humanity. You're fighting every storm, every mountain, every tide that made us." The message ended with soft music, ancient Earth rhythm, percussion echoing like distant thunder. The galaxies didn't sleep that night. Months later, a new cadet at the Threxian Academy asked timidly, "Sir, what became of the humans?" The instructor sighed, staring out at the stars. "They're still there. Still alive. Still impossible. Do we have any advice if we ever encounter them again?" The old commander turned to him, voice heavy with awe. "Yes. If you ever see them dance, run." The galaxy built weapons to break humanity. Earth built storms to remind them why that's impossible. Water wave,